What's going on, traders? Up front, sorry for the long video. My son had a little bit of an incident at school, had to drop everything and go get him and rush him to the emergency care because he had a nice little gash above the top of his eye. He happened to run into another kid at gym class, but I know you guys aren't here for that. So just letting you know what happened as far as the video being late. Only position on stocks was CMRA, pair short, nothing too fancy about it. Ended up getting a nice entry, so kind of top ticked it with not that big a size. That was all we ended up with on stocks. We did blow one of the evals today. It's very frustrating because we started the day off minus 555 and clawed all the way back to 240. So almost 700 bucks, a little, yeah, almost $700 recovery, which would have been nice to have up front had I not taken that first trade to begin with, which I think moving forward, the opening range trade, I'm going to leave alone for a little while until I start seeing that volatility that we're used to at the open. But we can go ahead and look at what happened. Let's pull quant. So this was the opening trade, kind of messed that up. And then this was me scaling or scalping to get all the way back up. And on this one is where we ended up 240. And I took one last trade, which was the mistake trade. I didn't mind this trade because if you look left on the way up, the odds are before you get any kind of continuation, you're going to have that little micro pullback, just people selling into this push, which is exactly what I capitalized on here. But my mistake was if it was going to come back up to that area, the odds are it might try to go higher. And then we could have started our position somewhere in this next resistance area. Instead, I started it here, added where I should have had my first entry, and then added again. And then we were just along for the ride. I was kind of letting it try to make a backside, and then I was going to add in, but it never did. Came up. That was our max loss on the account. It stopped us out. Nothing we could do about it. And of course, that ended up being the top, which is very frustrating because looking back, had I traded this the way I should have, probably would have survived. And that's the other thing with the NQ. I mean, it only took three contracts. Like I started this with one contract and I ended up with three. It was just a 111. And that quick, it stopped me out for a max loss. And that's too volatile for these 50K accounts. And I think moving forward, I'm just going to trade the MNQ because the MNQ, I would have easily survived this and actually had a decent green trade on it. So moving forward, just learning. And in the end, that number looks a lot bigger than it actually is, right? This says $2,412.76. But in reality, I only lost $17. And even if I did lose a funded account, that's still only $100, right? Because it's 17 plus the 85, which is close to $100. So that's the awesome thing about these prop firms is that you get the opportunity to make a decent amount of money if you put the time in and actually put the effort in as well to be consistent versus the amount of risk that you're actually taking any given day, right? These 90% off evaluations, they're $17 to get going. And if you blow one, it sucks, yeah, because of the time you put into them. But in the bottom line, it's 17 bucks. It's not that big of a deal. The other eval, everything went fine on that one. We're actually pretty close to passing that. See, we're at 52,638. You got to get to 53. I'll probably push for that tomorrow. If we get to that 300 mark, I'll probably push. It's only 372 or 362 that I need. So we pretty much almost did that before commission. So I can probably push to get that tomorrow with a few extra trades. And then as the day went on, the funded account is what I traded last. And it was just really kind of choppy until the afternoon. I mean, the afternoon, that crazy move it made down, pretty nuts. I did actually take one last trade on the MNQ on, I think it was that top funded account. Had to be because the other account was blown. Yeah. So we came right down to that extension area that I look for, and I just took a quick little scalp. Nothing too crazy there. It was only I think three contracts of MNQ, which is like 30% of a contract on the NQ. But that's all I got. I don't want to keep you too long. I got to get back to the kid anyway. And I'll make sure he's still doing all right. And I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.